don't know.
Guys, what's that?
Yeah.
That was
Oh,
awesome.
you guys are awesome.
I'd like to hear some more of that.
I'm sure they play some more.
You know, we should have danced on that one.
I think Lou was asking you
Yeah.
to do that.
That'd have been great.
We could show our talent.
Yeah. So here
So
we
what
are.
are we doing now?
I was looking at that possible cruise up there. I can't believe the band is sending us on a cruise.
I can't either. That
Can you
band
believe
is
that?
something else.
You believe that, guys? A cruise. Our cruise is running again? Nobody knows.
Okay, can you move on around just a tad?
You want to move off the stage?
No. I just want to stand beside you and say,
Okay.
get on this chair.
All
There we
right.
go. Doesn't that look nice?
Yeah.
Oh,
Actually, this was planned. You and I had music stands for down there, but let's just stay up here.
yeah, I like this. This is fine.
This is cool.
I don't know if it's cool or not, but
I think it's cool.
okay,
So how you doing?
good.
How are you guys doing today? Wow.
Yeah, woohoo!
Yeah.
He's ready.
Welcome Daybreak Live. This is Valentine's at Daybreak today. We're having a love fest. Is that right?
I'm not sure. Okay.
Well, we are. Aren't we? Are we having a love fest
Happy
today?
Valentine's Day. I thought I'd share a story to begin with. Now, I shared this on a Wednesday night when we did the thingamajiggy at our house. What's that called? Oh,
It's pretty complicated. Wes, Claudia, and the band. It's
okay,
really
there you are.
complicated.
Yeah. And so anyway, that week we were entertaining maybe 8 or 10 people one night, and I was cooking supper for them. And so Wes comes in around noon and says, "What's for lunch?" And I said, "Well, nothing for me because I'm cooking this supper and I don't have time to do that." Because Wes knows how to make hot chocolate and a fried egg, and I don't know if that, and he likes 8 a.m., 12 noon, 5 supper, then another snack around 8 or 9, then another snack around 2:30.
I don't time them like you do.
Oh, well, okay.
Is that
Anyway.
really? Is that really my schedule?
Pretty much. And so, anyway, so I said, "Why don't we just go to Jimmy John's?" And he goes, "Okay, I'll go." So he leaves, and I keep doing my thing. And a little while later, he comes back and walks in the kitchen, heavy sigh. "Oh." I said, "What's wrong?" I drove all the way over there. It's about 2 miles. I drove all the way over there and got there and didn't have my billfold, which means no driver's license either. And so he says, "I had to come back and get it." And I said, "Okay, well, just go back, order the sandwiches, and come on." So he drives all the way back, and he drives to the drive-thru. He orders the sandwiches. He pays for the sandwiches, and then he comes home.
I had a conversation with a guy at the window. We had a great conversation.
We still didn't get the sandwiches. So, meanwhile, so I said, "Where are they?" He goes, "Well, I left them there." I said, "Well, why don't you get back in your truck and go get them?" "I'll call them." So he calls them, and they answer. They go, "Hello," He says, "Hi, this is Wes Dubin." "Yeah, we've got your sandwiches here." And he says, "Well, you know what? Why don't you just go ahead and have them?"
I did. I gave them to them.
Isn't that nice? Meanwhile, we had no lunch. But anyway,
Claudia explained to me, they can't eat your sandwiches. This is the season of COVID. There's no way.
that's right. But they were nice.
Yeah.
So what I'm following up with is, instead of just telling stories on Wes, I started writing things. I mean, I could write forever, a lot of stuff, but I was writing some things that Wes represents to me. And I love Wes. He's a man of character. He's funny. You cannot believe how much he entertains. Well, maybe you can. I mean, we laugh a lot because of him. I know he loves me. He loves adventure of all kinds. Yesterday he says, "Do you realize we've stayed in this house all day?" I said, "Oh, Lord forbid, that's bad." And it's because to him, it's go, go, go. Anyway, he's challenging, not challenging to live with. He challenges me to do better or to improve in whatever I'm doing. He loves his family, of course, absolutely loves God. He loves people. And he's a real fixer-upper. Those are the greatest stories when Wes decides he's going to fix something around the house. He loves Christmas. He loves the band. He loves the vocals. He loves you. He loves online. He loves this place called Daybreak. And I love him. And I want to wish you happy Valentine's
Well,
Day. Yay.
and-
Okay. But now then, we got to get going.
I was thinking maybe this is a place where we could have a kiss.
I think you just gave me one.
I know, but it wasn't in the lips.
Oh, dear me. Okay, let's see. We've got, we don't even have,
I don't know how you guys are, but don't you love to kiss in the lips? I mean, isn't that like your favorite? Like just. Yeah. Who said that?
okay.
You
Why
know,
don't you start
yeah,
right here as
I
your
am.
first point?
Yeah, you and I, Claudia, we were married. Can you believe this? What we're going to tell you. We married almost 50 years ago. 50 years ago.
A lot of experience.
Lot, yeah.
Okay, read or talk.
Jeez.
Look at our time. We have 20 points, which means we have 1 minute per point.
And if you'll keep yours short, then we'll make it through.
Okay?
That's the way we'll
I
do
will.
it. So here we are, a few weeks later, we're celebrating almost 50 years. Do you feel it's been hard when you think about it? You feel the 50 years have been hard?
Not all 50 years, no. I feel we had difficult times when we initially first started off.
So
You came from Mr. Church family, and I came from heathen. So, you know, that didn't mix too well after we got married.
Do you feel it's been wonderful? Do you feel our
Yes,
marriage has been
absolutely.
wonderful? Yeah.
Yeah.
Has it
Do
been?
you? You act like you're kind of.
No, I was just asking you.
Oh, me? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm just thinking, has it been everything you expected? When you walked into that chapel, that wedding chapel, Evansville, Indiana, 1971, I believe.
And what month? What month?
I know what month it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
What month?
I know it starts with a J.
So there's 3.
3 J's. It's July.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because our script, when we started studying, said Claudia Ann Smith and I were married on Friday night, June 24th, 1971. I said, sweetheart,
I was
what
just a
month were we married?
I'm a little more anxious.
It's only been 50 anniversaries. No, I'm teasing.
But has it been everything you expected? When you look back
Really,
at
Liz.
that moment you walked down there, has it lived up to your expectations?
What would you be expecting when you're walking down the aisle and I'm thinking, ooh, I just feel so pretty and the music is so funny. Dad's got it.
Yeah.
No, I'm not thinking about anything. I will tell you this, that Wes told me that he was going to sing to me at the wedding because Wes did.
Love to sing.
He sang a lot of places.
Yeah.
So.
By the way, I was a competitive singer.
Yes,
I
he
would
was.
enter contests and
Yep.
sing in Italian. I'd sing,
Yes, he did.
yeah, Caro mio bien.
Yes, and that's
So-
all he remembers. No, anyway. So
Do you
let
know
me.
what that
let me-
means?
I love you.
My dearest love.
There we go. See,
Yeah.
See, you just.
If Lou Musa was out here, he would know exactly what that meant. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So anyway, he says, I'm going to sing to you. And I was really excited about this because I've heard Wes in many productions in high school and whatever. And a lot of times Wes would get to a key part and forget 2 or 3 words. But it did not bother him. He would click right back in and just go on with it.
Well, I made up my own words.
Yes, he did. So
I did. More
what
than
song
one.
was it at church he made up?
I
your own?
don't know. It was the Lord's Prayer, which nobody knows
Yes,
the Lord's Prayer.
yes, the Lord's Prayer.
And I forgot
he
the
finished his
second
concert,
line. I forgot the
and
second
someone
line.
stood up and said, "Would you sing? Would you sing the Lord's Prayer?" And Wes said, "Sure." Anyway, let's finish my story. So I'm standing there. You know, I'm here. He's here. The audience is here, and he's singing to me, and it's beautiful. And I thought, I can't believe he's going to be able to sing all these words. And then he gets all involved and he lifts his hand and he sings. And I thought, oh, we're really getting into this.
Very dramatic.
Very dramatic. And as he lifted it the second time, he had written
All the lyrics.
all the lyrics on this one hand. But he made it.
The cheat sheet.
Okay, here we go.
I still have to do that. Okay, here we go. We're going to give the.
We're going to start out with the top 10 mistakes.
Yeah,
Isn't that positive?
yeah,
Then we're going to end up with the 10
And
good things.
these are like the only mistakes we've made, right?
Yeah, I know they believe that. Okay.
But these
Number
are 10.
one,
these
we're
are-
moving right ahead.
Okay, here we
Number
go.
one, we received some premarital counseling, but very little.
And go ahead.
No, it's just that,
As I look back, we got so little. I don't even remember a book being handed to
No,
us.
I don't even think
even
there were
remember
books
sitting
written.
down for extensive preparation.
No.
I'm just saying.
your dad gave us some,
Yeah, he gave us
but
some.
we were involved.
Yeah.
Okay. Number two, we took unrealistic expectations into our marriage.
I somehow believe that Claudia was going to be the homemaker and be the person who would take care of the home fires and take care of the house and
I
all
had
of
a
that.
nice apron.
In a nice apron, which she had no idea what that even meant.
I didn't cook then.
And I was going to be the person out here winning people to Jesus. So
Praise Jesus.
that's
Yes.
the way I saw our relationship. I
Yes.
didn't know that's what I saw. So I had these really unbelievable expectations of you. You probably didn't have a clue
No,
with me.
no. Number three, we kept our conflicts to ourselves.
And we had some. I mean, the first year was just, I don't want to exaggerate this, but it was like, who's in charge here? And
You know, when you have to ask who's in charge, they're not. Okay, let's go ahead.
But we had, and what I would do, I would raise my voice. This is the way I would sort of move into, I'm leading here. I would raise my voice, and Claudia would go opposite. She would like slip away to the
I'd go under.
She goes under, gets quiet, moved to the bedroom, probably had a tear or two, and then I'm feeling very bad.
Good.
We repeated this, though. You remember? We repeated this over and
Yep,
over.
yep,
We just
yep.
thought, is this the way it's going to be? Is this the way we deal with conflict? We did not know how to deal with conflict, except through that method.
Right.
And it didn't work very well. In fact, we were so stubborn, both of us, we would come to one impasse after another, and nothing happened. I mean, it just got worse.
I think 19 may have had a problem with that, being 19. What do you think? Okay, number four, we did not schedule enough time for ourselves after the wedding. What I mean by that is that,
I was right into pastoring a church. As soon as our honeymoon was over, I was right back to this new church that I was pastoring and going to school full time. Both
Right.
of us going to school.
75 miles a day.
Yeah.
Monday
and so
through
there was
Friday.
absolutely no day off. Monday through Friday was school. Saturday was get ready for Sunday. Sunday, of course, was church. And then repeat that year, for
Yes.
3 years.
Yes.
Yeah, it was not good. No rest, no rest.
So what's new? Okay, number five, we suffered in silence. Wes, I'm going to have you take that one.
Well, man, this one is convicting to me. Here we are, Christ followers, and we should have prayed together as well as individually about these issues that we were having in our lives, these conflicts. And I'm not exaggerating. We had some major impasse conflicts. And we basically would just.
Who was going to empty the trash? That's major. But
Well,
we fought over that.
I'm not going to go down that
No,
road.
we don't have time. Keep going. I'm
But
sorry.
in our house,
Oh, so you're not going to bring it up. Okay.
Mom emptied the trash.
And my dad did.
Okay, so
Okay.
that's what happened. I mean, it got bad. I mean, neither one of us would
Okay.
take the trash out. But we should have confided in a few godly and mature people who could have helped us through some of this. But no, we just suffered. We just kind of went under, and we just kind of kept it quiet to ourselves, like, oh, we're fine. Our marriage is fine. We know we're newlyweds, but our marriage is fine.
Number six, we postponed getting help until it was almost too late. I'm going to cover this subject a little more when we talk about the good things.
Yeah, why don't you delay that one, because I think that one deserves some time.
Okay.
Because it came close. Our marriage got into real trouble. A lot of people don't know that. Our parents didn't know it. We kept it to ourselves, but our marriage really came to an impasse. Number 7 here.
We never told our church about our marital struggles.
And we're primarily talking about this first church we pastored at the beginning of our marriage, this church in Indiana.
Sweet church.
And then I would say even here at Daybreak, the first few years, we didn't say much about where our marriage was at. And I certainly, back to the first church, I wouldn't say anything to like our board, like Claudia and I are really struggling in our marriage. We just kind of kept that to ourselves.
Number 8, I should have preached more on marriage. This is what
I look back and I wish, and I'm making an honest confession here to you. And I've said this to Claudia. I said, Claudia, I feel like some years I could have taken all 52 Sundays here and just spent it on marriage and family and parenting, because I know that's where people live and that's where people have their struggles. But we didn't, and I feel like that's one of the things, if I could like go back to the
Well, you can go forward.
Methodist church,
Yep.
I would have at least attempted. I would have quoted other people. And then even here at Daybreak, I would have done more on the whole marriage thing. And yes, looking forward, I think this is something that could be done.
Right. All right, number 9, we were not honest with ourselves. I think we got in a place where this must be how it is, and so we'll cope. And but I think the number 1 problem with marriages is selfishness. I think each one comes into marriage wanting on their own turf and wanting, oh, he's going to make me so happy. I can't wait till he blah, 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 and vice versa. And I just think it's selfish. And then pretty close to that is the art of communication. I feel that if a married couple cannot communicate, then I think it's pretty well done.
I think you've hit the 2 major problems that were in our marriage, and it's in the marriage of an awful lot of couples that we meet with, is just downright selfishness, as you mentioned. And then the second one is that whole thing of being able to talk, being able to communicate.
And sometimes your communication is just not going to be like this table setting, sweet and wonderful and beautiful. But it's communication. You've got to talk, and you've got to let your feelings out and work on that. And what's the results of that? I have a little acrostic that I'll share with you. It's the word think. You know, like think before you speak. Think. T, is it true? H, is it helpful? I, is it inspiring? N, is it necessary? K, is it kind? Now, if you would, I know you have.
That was good. Did you guys write those down? Could you go through them real quick again? Because that one we need to write down.
T for true, H for helpful, I for inspiring, N for necessary, K for kind. Now, if you can kind of get the idea and you study that, if you stick to that instead of saying, I can tell you, women don't forget words. If Wes said something to me a few years ago about me, to me, I could tell you what he said right now.
Oh my.
Now,
This is not
do
good.
we practice forgiveness? Yes, but I don't forget, and
I don't
most
hold
women
things
don't.
like that.
You know,
I forget.
women want to feel loved. Men want to feel respect.
And loved.
Yes, but their highest yearning is respect. And I think that comes like with their job, with everything they do. And if the wife does not show respect and honor to her husband, then you start whittling away, and here we go.
Okay, so how do you want the expression of love expressed to you as a woman? I was listening to that song a while ago, by the way.
When a Man
It's
Was
great. So when you say a woman wants to be loved, what does that look like when you talk about being loved?
Appreciation, positive remarks. I don't know, just loving,
Yeah.
kind.
Yeah, so you want to hear it. You want to hear it expressed.
Yes,
You want to hear it carried out.
got to get our 25,000
You know
words out.
I'm a gift giver. I love
Yes,
to,
you are.
I love to express with
Yes.
gifts.
Yes, he is. That's his love language.
Yeah, like, maybe buy you a chainsaw, something like that.
Yes, or an exercise bike. Yeah.
Oh, man, I wasn't going to
No,
say that.
no.
I was
We're
not going to say
moving on
that.
to,
The next list. Let's
yes.
just go on to the next list.
Okay, now we're going to start with
Positive.
all 10 got it right. We think we got it right.
Yeah, we think we got
Number
it right.
1, when the going got tough, we hung in there.
And there were times, we kind of made this vow to each other very early in our marriage not to use the D word, divorce. We have a couple friends who freely use that word on each other, and we decided we're just not going to use it. We might use the M word.
The what?
M.
Marriage?
Murder.
Oh, murder. Wow. We went, okay.
But we're not going to use the D word because...
I think I'd rather use divorce. At least I'd still be around.
You think you have a second chance, huh? Oh, that's funny.
That's real funny.
That's real funny.
Oh, okay.
But there's been a lot of times, had we not made a decision just to hang in there, it would have been easy for us just to have walked away. And when I say walk away, guys, I'm not talking about an official legal divorce. I'm talking about, for the family, for the kids, for mom and
Existing,
dad,
yeah.
we're going to still live in the same house. But in all practicalities, we've divorced. And Claudia and I have dealt with a lot of couples on this, haven't we?
Yes, we have.
They're still living together, but they've been divorced. And
Well,
sometimes for
there's no
10,
joy
15
or
years.
love, yeah.
Proverbs
Okay.
says this, be faithful to your own wife and give your love to her alone. Let's go on to the number 2 here.
Number 2, we got counseling. This is what I
Wow, this was a turning point in our marriage. It was so big. Why don't you kind of tell the...
It got to a point where we pastored this church, little church. It was precious for 3 years, and then we did something for a year. I forget what we used. Anyway, he joined his father's team, and he worked for his dad for 15 years. He averaged 240 nights a year gone, and when we moved here, Wes says, Claudia, would you like to do ministry with me? And I thought, well, I don't know what that looks like. Yeah, he says, well, I've averaged it out. We were apart 6 full years in his travels. Well, during this time, I supported Wes in what he was doing because I felt that God called him to do this. And so I'm teaching full time. I've got my 2 boys with me. And anyway, it came to a point where after a few years, I struggled.
By the way, there are no cell phones, right?
No cell phones. We never could. Think of this. My boys never got to talk to him. We would wait till after 11 o'clock every night because that's when rates would go down. And we would talk a little bit, not long,
10 minutes.
a little bit, and that was it. And so not only did they not see him, they did not hear him.
It was a little rough to talk from Africa, but
Yeah.
other than that...
So anyway, I got to the point where I felt lost. I didn't know, who am I? What am I doing? Is this what I'm to be? What is this?
I had no idea this was going on
I
either.
wouldn't share that with him.
It's a quiet part.
And so one week when he was gone, I thought, I'm going to go to counselor. And I sought out one of the best counselors in Winston-Salem. And I went to him, and all I said to him, I said, I don't know who I am anymore. I don't know if I'm important. I don't know. So he started giving me test after test after test. And he says, now, this took 3 weeks. I never said anything to him. And on near the end, he started going through a lot of the testing with me, showing me that I'm okay. And the last test, it laid out on a table. Remember that? About like this?
Yeah, I remember.
And he says, bring your husband with you next week. I said, that will not happen.
I'll tell you why this would not work. I am so full of religiosity and spiritual pride. I'm just being honest here today, which might be a good thing. I'm the counselor. I'm the one who counseled pastors in these cities I would go visit.
That's right, all
and
those
they would
cities.
tell me their marriage problems and their kid problems and their church problems. And so I was the counselor, not the counselee. And so I had this in my head. And when you announced this to me, I was like, I mean, like, I can't believe this, Claudia. I mean, I still remember the
Right.
conversation. It's like, I cannot believe you would go in and tell somebody about how bad our marriage is.
I didn't do that.
I
I
know,
told him
but
about
I'm
me.
I'm thinking that. I'm
Yeah,
thinking
yeah.
this is an insult on our marriage.
Yeah.
And I knew the pastor of that church when you told me it was at Calvary Baptist Church. Dr. Quartz was one of my heroes, and I thought, what if I run into him? And listen to the pride. Listen to this religious pride that I had in my heart. But go ahead.
Okay.
This is a turning point, by the way, in our marriage.
So anyway, Wes follows me in, and
Followed her.
we were seated, and of course they got to know each other and everything. So he said he explained to him all the tests I'd taken and what the results were, and he says, "Now we're going to go through this right here, but I want you to look at this point right." And so we look at this point, and he says, "I understand that you may be going into church ministry, pastoring a church."
Pastoral ministry.
Uh-huh. And Wes says, we're thinking about that. And he says, well,
This had
Claudia,
to do with you guys.
Claudia will be great as a pastor's wife. Well, I'm a pastor's wife. And so I had no idea what that, yeah, it doesn't matter. So anyway, he says, this one area you need to work on before you accept a church. He says, Claudia is the type of person that she'll be driving down the interstate, and maybe a young lady is pulled over, has her hood up, and needs help. Claudia will drive right on by. She'll honk her horn and wave and smile and go on.
Isn't that awful?
Not, you don't need to be making a comment about that. And so anyway, he says, you need to work on her mercy level. Now, I'm not going to ask you guys if you think I have mercy or not, but that was what he told us, right? That I had to
I'm not
work.
going to say anything because you told me not to say anything.
Good boy. Okay, so there we are. Number 3, we have some great kids.
Yeah, but before we go to that, I want to say a wall was cracked. It was broken down.
Oh, I was set free.
And you were set free, which changed my attitude toward everything. When I realized what was happening to you and I didn't know it, and it was coming into our relationship, and then all of a sudden, this counselor is looking at me and saying, your wife is just fine. She's a healthy wife. And I didn't know that there was anything going on. But he said, if you would have left this the way it was, you guys were in trouble. You guys,
Yep.
and I didn't even know that. And so I made some drastic decisions.
Yes.
I mean, very drastic decisions to change the course that we were on.
Right.
And so
That's right.
the next point here, God has blessed us with some great sons, great families. And I just want to say here,
Such joy.
such joy. By the way, grandchildren are God's reward for you for not killing your kids when they were teenagers. And I mean that. 2 sons came really close. I mean, there's nothing like hearing, though, the words of Granddad and Nina, which we absolutely love hearing those things. And
That's right.
we may come back to the boys, but there was a period in their lives they were
Everybody
testing
does. Everybody.
us to no end. I think, their desire was to become gangsters. And they were doing...
They were blowing up the neighborhood over here with
Yeah,
coke
don't
bombs.
reveal that
Oh, yeah,
because...
that's a form. Yeah, okay.
I mean,
All
that-
right, number 4. Our friends made a real difference. In other words, it was our friends that helped us later when, let's just say when I was diagnosed with cancer. I didn't want to broadcast it and all that kind of stuff. It was very personal to me. And so I called a friend, and this young lady every day sent me a scripture and a prayer every day until we heard of how I was going to do. And I will never forget that and what that did for me. I looked forward to that every day. And but what we say is that it's good if you have trustworthy friends. That's key to me. If they're trustworthy and they don't go out and say, if you won't tell anybody, I want to tell you this. That's a bunch of bull. So I don't go there. And so, But we have these friends that we can call on like that. Number 5, we have had a supportive church.
That'd be you guys. That'd be Daybreak.
Yes.
And I just want to say, I'll go back and bring one story back up. And that's when one of our kids in particular was trying to become a gangster. I won't tell you his name or anything. He is now a minister, but I won't give you his name. I was ready to quit. I was ready to quit this church. Claudia knows that. I said, Claudia, I can't even be a godly dad. I can't even lead our family the way I should lead them. Look what's happening here. This bothers me to no end. And I remember going to that elders meeting, that board meeting on a Monday night, ready to hand my resignation, and you remember this, and say, guys, I cannot do it. And I remember the board looked at me after kind of a pause and said, listen, this is life. We're with you. We're going to stand with you. We're going to pray with you. And you don't need to throw that towel in. We need to continue on this journey together. I'll never forget that moment. I'll never forget that moment. And that's not been the only moment. Some of you have been so kind and so gracious and so praying to encourage us. So thank you. This is our moment to say thank you, guys. Number 6.
We constantly give each other mutual encouragement. This to me is
Cheerleader.
just so very important. It comes very natural to me. I love writing notes. I love calling people and expressing my thanks to them. I just feel that God's been so good to me, and that I love to share that with others, that they are so important and vital to what we do here. Their friendship means a lot, et cetera, et cetera. And with encouragement with Wes and I, there's times, you know this, you know when your spouse is down, you know when they're going through tough times. That's when I reach deep and do something for him or talk to him, get him to talking. And the same thing for me. I shared a story, first service, I don't know if we have time for that, the dad story.
Yeah, tell that.
Okay. My dad has passed away almost over 25 years ago, hard to believe. He was a physician, and so after his death, Wes wanted me to share about my dad in a service, and so right here, and so I shared about Dad's his heart attack that created him to be brain dead, and we had to make terrible decision of life support systems and all that good stuff. And I shared that I sat on his bed. They thought he would pass away in a day. He remained alive for 5 days. So I sat on the bed beside him, and I'd lean over and I'd sing. He knew the old hymns, and I would sing the old hymns into his ear. And then I would quote some scripture like this, because I didn't know where Dad was, and I thought, well, maybe, just maybe. So I shared that, and I got an anonymous letter that next week sent here. And since then, I've learned I never read anonymous letters again, ever. And this person, whomever they were or are, said, I just wish you would treat Paradise Club, that was the name of Hip Town at the time, wish you would sing the old hymns and read scriptures back there instead of doing it to your father who was brain dead. That absolutely wiped me out. I could not believe someone who went to Daybreak would write me a letter like that. And I hit rock bottom. And so when I talk about mutual encouragement, Wes immediately said, let's get in the car and let's go north. And we talk. You know, when you're in the car, you can't do anything but just sit there and talk with each other. And we stayed a couple of nights up north, and all he did was put time into me. And I was restored. I mean, I still remember it, but I'm more understanding towards that. But that's how we are for each other with our mutual agreement and encouragement.
Yeah, that's so important that when one is down, the other one can go up and lift the other one. Mm-hmm. And we have learned to do that through the years. We didn't know how to do that at the beginning. The next one is very important to us. We have made vacations very special, at least one a year. And I don't mean just when our kids were at home. We still do this. We feel it's very important to find a different place each year. Doesn't have to be a different place, but to do some time together, at least 2 weeks of vacation every year, and just, nobody else around, just the two of us, and kind of hang out, do what we want. We have stayed at some fancy resorts, but more often it's been backpacking, climbing a mountain, living in a tent, going down the Green River for 52 miles in a canoe. But those are important days to
That's
us,
right.
and
Yep,
we
that's
look at
good.
those as highlights.
Number 8, we honor each other's parents. I'm going to let you speak into that.
Yeah, and there have been times I've been unfair there, and we don't have time
No,
to
you
give you a
didn't.
story, but I found myself early in our marriage taking swipes at Claudia by using maybe her mom or her dad, just kind of getting at you by using a parent. And I've come to learn that that is not the right way to do this. We honor each other's parents, and we still talk about each other's parents. We have our parents' pictures hanging in our house, and they're very meaningful to us. Number 9, we've learned to solve problems together. We bring them to each other. We work on these together. And number 10, we've learned from the mistakes of others. And I mean by this, sometimes sitting at a table at a restaurant, we've listened to a couple just kind of going after it and revealing things in their lives. And we've gotten in the car more than once and said, you know what? We need to learn from what we just heard the last 2 hours and apply some of the meaningful things to our lives. Well, I just want to say, you had one more thing.
I do. I have one more thing. I'm going to kind of read from it because many people, and why I'm speaking into this is when we were first married, yes, we're a pastor, and I don't know what I was called, but anyway, we did this beautiful church together, but we didn't pray much. And I look back on that, and many people underestimate the power of prayer, and they don't understand it. We think there is a wall dividing the spiritual world from the physical world. Mm-hmm. But the seen and unseen cannot be separated. These worlds work together and influence each other. If you want a successful marriage, you need to knock down the imaginary walls and enlist God's help through prayer for you to win the everyday battle in your marriage. Psalm 33:20-22 says, "We wait in hope for the Lord. He is our help and shield. In him our hearts rejoice, for we trust his holy name. May your unfailing love be with us, Lord, even as we put our hope in you." You need to fight for your marriage. You have to work at building a strong, healthy, happy marriage. It won't work unless you do. Are you willing to do so? If you can't answer that, you need to ask God to help you regain the fight. Prayer is more than half the battle. Listen to that. Prayer is more than half the battle. Be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to anger.
Wow, you used the word fight.
Yeah, marriages are worth it.
And I agree with Claudia on this. You've got to fight for your marriage.
Yeah, it's work, but it's
we're,
great
we're
work.
not even talking about our kids. We got to fight for our kids
Yes,
too.
definitely, especially
But
now.
especially for each other's marriage, you got to fight for it. You fight for it. You keep it on the front burner. Here's what Jesus says in John 13:7. Know that you know these things. You've heard them now today. God will bless you for doing them. Let these practices take place in your life. None of us have perfect marriages, including Wes and Claudia. We're far from it. But we're fighting for it, and we continue to fight for it. And I just want to say to you today, Claudia has given to you two of the most powerful tools, communication and prayer. Communication and prayer. Let's pray. God, we come to you today and thank you for your presence that we feel here on this Valentine's Sunday. And Lord, the world so often talks about love, but not in a godly manner. And we know that only you can give us the right kind of love. And we pray for marriages that are listening here today on Daybreak Live, as well as in this auditorium, that may be just existing. Maybe they've already divorced, not legally, but in their hearts they divorced. Lord, there is nothing more thrilling to you than to see a couple make up, call their divorce off, and start following you in their marriage. And Lord, there may be some marriage right now that's really close to divorce. I pray that they will turn that marriage totally over to you. And we pray for a miracle today. And now I pray for marriages that are just sort of coasting along, that there will be a new fire that will come into their relationship. And then I pray for those great marriages, and there are a few great marriages. We celebrate that today. We celebrate that. Lord, thank you for this church that loves families, that love marriages, loves singles, loves kids, loves that single mom who's struggling. Lord, thank you for a church that's wide open for whatever our background is, whatever is going on in our lives. I want to thank you today. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you for this time we've had together. In your name, amen. Thank you for coming today. God bless all of you. Have a wonderful Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's.